All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is our caucus meeting, September 12th, 2004, for the Borough of Yeadon. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Please begin our roll call, starting with our esteemed mayor.
Esteemed Mayor Roland Hepkins.
Present.
President Latoya Monroe.
Present.
Vice President Liana Rocloud.
Present.
Councilor Nicole Beatty.
Present.
Councilor Antoinette Trueheart.
Present.
Councilor Michael Trent.
Present.
Councilor Jesse Peets.
Present.
Councilor Loren Johnson.
Present.
Brianna Bryant from Kilkenny Law.
Present.
Nafis Nichols is away. Yolanda Hughes, our tax collector, is not present. And Megan Tadara from Pannoni Engineering.
Thank you. I believe we have a quorum. And everyone is here. Welcome back, Councilor Johnson.
Thank you so much.
I don't have any forms here. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything for Citizens Forum. Going once, going thrice. All righty. So we will move on next to our mayor's report.
I'll be brief.
Doubt it.
Well, the preacher says that. What you thought? No, we had a mayor's forum yesterday of 9/11. Decent attendance. The highlight was introducing a new borough manager, Rafi Cave, to the residents, as well as a new co-director, Kyle Womack, who's in the audience here this evening as well. Flag was flown at half staff for 9/11, as it was around the country. Accreditation, we're about 80% complete, so it should be achieved by the end of the year or so. We should be early next year. And that's the rest you can read, but those are the two things I wanted to highlight. Next Mayor's Forum will be scheduled for December 7th, which would be the last one for the year. There ends my report, Madam President.
All right. Thank you. We will now move on to our manager's report.
Good evening, everybody. In our, we have a few new job postings, a public works full-time employee and a front desk / receptionist full-time role. They are posted on the website. Next week we will consider approval of 2 retirements and 1 termination, as well as a hire of 1 part-time employee and a new full-time code officer. A couple fun events, and I know Councilwoman Beatty, I think, will talk about 1 or 2 of them, as well as our police. One is our fire prevention night, October 4th. That'll be very, very fun. It's always well attended. You'll see demonstrations from our fantastic fire department, as well as it'll be attended by the American Red Cross. And residents will be able to sign up for free smoke detectors with installation by the Red Cross. So that'll be a fun night. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will move next to our solicitor's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I wanted to mention that the council met in executive session earlier today just to talk about personnel and litigation matters. As for my report, our office has been working on a number of matters for the borough, including reviewing multiple contracts for the borough and providing feedback to the borough manager. We drafted developer, stormwater, and financial security agreements for the land development at 1,100 Chester Avenue. We are moving forward with the litigation process for Frankie Francis. We are also in contact with his attorney for a potential settlement, but still going through the litigation process if that does not work out. We are also working with the Code Enforcement Officer, Kyle Womack, to continue the process of the progress of the smoke shop ordinance. We're in communication with the Delaware County Planning Commission as well as the Yeadon Borough Planning Commission, who will provide feedback and comments to the smoke shop ordinance. The proposed timeline is that at the next meeting on September 19th, that the council will move for a motion to advertise the smoke shop ordinance as well as having a public hearing for the October meeting. As finally, we also have drafted a commercial truck parking ordinance for council to also discuss and review. And that ends my report.
Thank you very much. Did the tax collector leave a report with you,
She did
Mr.
not,
Pete?
Madam President.
All right, can we make sure that that's available at our legislative session?
Absolutely.
All right, engineer's report, please.
Good evening. My first item is regarding Community Park. Earlier this week, can you hear me? Or should I pull it down?
No, just stand on your toes.
I know, just stand on the whole time. Be a quick report. We accepted bids for Community Park. I sent the bid tabulation earlier today. I'm not sure if it made it into circulation yet. The low bidder was Ernell, which the borough is very familiar with, and I know works very well with our Public Works Department as well. The bids came in with a base bid of $220,000, an alternate one, which includes repaving the parking lot at Community Park, for $32,000. I'm rounding off here. I'm not going to read all these numbers out. And then alternate two, which is not grant eligible, but that would be the parking lot, extra parking lot here, which is $70,500. And all of that all in would be $322,900. I just want to introduce you to it. Obviously next week it would be a motion if possible. This project has funding, as a reminder, by DCNR, the Stormwater Collaborative, and Delco Greenways as well. So
just a quick refresher. This is the park. Is this the path and the tot lot as well?
yes, this is the tot lot. There's 2 pavilions, the walkway extension, the stormwater basin, some grills, picnic tables, benches. Am I missing anything? I think that's a lot of the broken walkway is also going to be repaired as well.
And future water sources.
I actually am going to speak about that, but I can jump to it. That's number 5. So there is a new grant opportunity that is due November 30th, and it is for improvements to properties owned by a municipality. You just have to own it outright. That's really the biggest condition here, and there's a lot of options, but one of them is improvements to a park that we could do. So
Okay.
we can talk. I didn't want to jump ahead, but
Sorry, I got you off track then. But I guess this is 300,000 of the 500,000 that was allotted, or didn't we have more to?
correct. So the part that goes out to bid is simply the construction-based work. The actual tot lot equipment and installation, along with all the picnic tables and benches, are an outright purchase through the CoStars process.
Okay.
So that's a separate purchase that was
Understood.
that's partnered together. So yes, all in is all the grant funding we're maximizing.
Okay. And did the message get to you about the fencing for the community garden as well as the tot lot? All right.
No.
Have you ever had a toddler in a playground? The tot lot needs to be fenced in.
We will. Yes, I'm trying to think of if that was already done. We might have done that. I will double check
Okay.
on that.
And then also, the lovely volunteers that do the Love Garden have made a few requests that I wanted to make sure that those get to you as well. Just
Okay.
like storage, a water source, so they're not collecting rainwater and toting tens of gallons of water from one place to another. So that's why we wanted to introduce the water source.
Okay, that's different than the other water source, I think
Yes.
I heard from last time. So if somebody can pass that along, I'll see if it's something that's easy to fit into this project and is very minor. I might be able to do it. If not, it might have to go to like the phase 3 portion.
Okay.
For
And lastly, I'm going to sandwich my comment in. I'm really thankful for all the grants that you're getting us and all of the work and effort that we're putting into this. But has someone looked into the developmental appropriateness of these play areas and like from this, and are the schematics really what is going to be presented? Because from what I saw, it looked like a sad little playground.
So everything that I sent Prior that, I needed final sign-offs, like 3 weeks ago.
Because I felt like there was like one teeter-totter and one like just it didn't look like it was robust and well thought out. It may have been like, I'm just asking you, like, did we use a consultant? Did we?
Yeah, so we went through 2 different playground vendors, and then one was selected from that process based upon what. It wasn't really supposed to be the same size as the existing one, because that is the current playground system is for higher ages. So since this was for lower, it was meant to be smaller. At the same time, my understanding was we gave them a budget of, I think it's $80,000, and said, can we maximize what we can do with $80,000 right here? So.
Okay. We can revisit it offline then, just to make sure. Because
Yes.
I'm just, you know.
If and I will tell you right now though, if there are changes, I need to know that like very much
All right,
soon.
I'll stay late. All right.
But I'll send another email with that information on there just to confirm what the current selection is.
Okay, so maybe something has changed between now and then. So if you can get it to the top of my email, I can guarantee you a response before tomorrow afternoon. But thank you. We are appreciative.
So that's just informational unless anybody else has questions about Community Park.
No?
The next thing is about just an update to the McDayton Church construction. So you might have saw that they started. All the work right now is on the ramps and just getting the new equipment bases and the work being done. The poles are set to be delivered. The new mast arms are set to be delivered in January of 2025. And then the one-way direction change, right now they're scheduled to do that in December. However, I have told them that I need a very big lead time on that, and that we will be very much, notices will be sent out. The public will be warned when that road will go to one way. So just as a heads up there.
And at our last meeting, you discussed putting measures to slow people down further down.
We're going to look into that, yes. One of the questions I did want to come back and get clarification on is if we were looking to slow traffic down coming into the intersection, or if we were looking for improvements additional at the intersection to
Before the intersection.
Before, okay.
Just to slow
That's
everything down before.
we are looking into that, but there was depending upon that answer.
Yeah, just understanding that we couldn't put any boulders, poles, anything that would stop and impede a car. We have the only other option that we have is to slow them down ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just as an update, we are working on the MS4 annual report that is due September 30th each year. With the Stormwater Collaborative, they do a lot of public outreach and meet a lot of the requirements, but just as a note, we are doing that, and there'll be a copy here for your records if you need it. The road program contracts are executed. The packet has been submitted to PennDOT for review, and we're working with the contractor to get that scheduled as soon as possible. So once I have more information, I will pass that along to you as well.
Okay.
And then 2 grant opportunities coming up. One is an LSA application through the state, which are due November 30th. Like I said, it is a very broad grant. You can do acquisitions, demolitions, a lot. And my reason for that is sometimes I came up with, if you wanted to move forward with another application for Community Park for additional improvements, I know that was something that was on my radar, but if there's something else I'm not aware of, please let me know. There's still some time. Obviously, I think we would do a resolution in October for that grant, so.
It has to be for one project, or can it be for multiple projects?
You can submit multiple.
So would it be able to supplement or speed up the second demolition property that we're waiting on for the county?
I would not advise that because LSA that we submitted last year, we submitted 2 applications for the borough. We still don't have awards. They take anywhere between 12 and 15 months to announce awards, and their timeline is just not something that I think we're willing to wait on.
Got it. Okay.
And then the second one is a PennDOT and multimodal grant that is due November 5th. That would be very similar to a program to what we submitted for Church and Myra. If we wanted to, again, just like we did with the intersection right out front, we have multiple sources of funding. We could submit for the same exact scope, just another opportunity for the same funding. So that's everything I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Megan, what would you, I'm sorry, Madam President, Mayor, what would you need from us next meeting to kind of throw it in the right direction for the LSA?
Nothing for the next meeting. LSA, with both of those grants being due in November, I would probably look in October for a resolution. But really, right now, I just want to bring it to your attention. If there's another project that I'm aware of that you want us to look into or see if it's a possible application, that's really why I try and present grants as early as possible if we don't have a clear direction. But a resolution at a public meeting would be the only thing for that.
Okay. I guess 1100 Church. No, sorry, 1100 Chester. Yeah. How often are we visiting?
So we had a meeting to discuss the process, and I recently had a very detailed meeting even of engineers to understand the I&I issues of the borough and the capacity and everything for that. We are preparing an understanding of what has to happen in order to move forward. You know, currently I believe 1100 Chester is putting some blame on us to say, you know, they didn't provide us with what we needed. And we're saying that might be true, but you didn't work with us to get that done. And I think we're understanding what the issues are right now. So that at this time, they have not come back to us with any solutions to resolve the I&I issue. But we are working to, at the same time, this capacity issue for sewer.
You said I&I.
Yes, infiltration and another I. And I'm blanking right now. You don't know it, do you?
Inflow?
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I say that because we did actually put in a LSA application last year that we are currently waiting to hear to do a borough-wide study to get you credit so that if the borough wanted to build a new building, they could, and that you could take credit for, you know, every building that gets demolished should be put on record for I&I credit. And there's a very strict process that needs to go through this process. So 1100 Chester is just a small part of this that we're working through. So
I think my question was, how often are we visiting the site?
Oh, the site, sorry, that is not something that we have not been instructed to visit the site for site inspections right now. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Is that something that I was under the impression your code department was completing those inspections? We had not been asked to do that to date.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, it's inflow and infiltration.
Infiltration.
I do not have order.
All right. So next up, we have our reports. We will wait on our finance report with Mr. Nichols when he returns next week. And ordinance and zoning.
Good evening.
Okay. Good evening.
So I'm going to start off with some raw numbers. In the month of August, we were able to have 48 violation notices, 17 citations issued. We responded to about 26 requests for action / complaints. We issued out 6 vehicle violation notices.
You said vehicle violation?
Yes, specific to vehicles. And we were able to gross $42,888 in borough permits and issued 54 permits. Those permits were properly submitted and issued. And to speak to the hot spots to the 1100 Chester, I'm on the site daily. I was able to make contact with the foundation contractor today who let me speak to me. He explained to me that his portion of the project should be completed within 15 days and they can move forward with the next steps. I was also able to speak to the developer in reference to a few community complaints, just to let them be aware of it, in reference to some residents noticed, I believe, tire markings on their property, and I was able to speak to the developer as well as someone who was driving, a truck, a commercial truck today, and just kind of explain that, we got complaints. No one had, their Ring camera, set up to my knowledge to get, date and time, but to let them be aware of that, when they're coming in and out of that driveway, that, the grass that they see that's not on their property is Yeadon resident property, and just to be, aware of it, and we'll move forward with that. We had a drop-off in violations, but also we maintained the same amount of citations. There was an emphasis put on follow-up violations. That follow-up violation typically is a citation. Certain violations come with a certain turnaround time. And we really, as a group, put an emphasis on making sure that these repeat offenders, were properly, cited, and, nuisance homes, eyesores were properly, cited and abated. And I open the floor to any questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't sure.
No, go ahead. I'm reading.
Mr. Womack, can you speak to any trends, I guess, late summer, kind of getting into fall? Are we seeing anything different out there that council should be aware of?
Yes, and I'm going to speak to this in the newsletter, but we noticed that, around this time, people tend to kind of forget about their lawn care when they notice that the temperature is dropping, and specifically curbside vegetation. We spoke to, making sure that you clean up to your curb because that is your property. A vast majority of all of our violations have been right out of, Chapter 220, Property Maintenance and Housing Standards, Section D, which speaks to vegetation care. I would say over 70% of our violations in the month of August has been, vegetation care. Majority of our abatements have been spoke to vegetation care that led to safety issues with blocking signs, getting in the way of people, walking on sidewalks, forcing them to walk on the streets. So kind of educating the people on the importance of, hedge treatment and just maintaining your lawn. But that was some of the trends that we've been noticing. And also we had a lot of our officers have noticed people, getting work done without permits. When you get permits, is more than just paperwork. It speaks to the quality of a home. I wouldn't want to move into a home that had a bunch of work done by some guy that you can't track down. When you make sure that these people who come into, our community are doing work on these homes, we're ensuring that the value of these homes don't only stay the same, but they go up. So that's kind of been, we have noticed, a trend of some people coming in and trying to get work done quickly. And it is usually a few issues that lead to that, lead to us noticing that. Thank you.
Madam Chair. This probably is more directed towards you, Mr. Cave. Washington Crossings.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to proceed from this point on? That property is horrendous.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a site we visit almost daily at this point. We are considering some increased oversight, increased citations, and possible abatements of the. There are a few things. There's the enclosed dumpster that still hasn't been completed, and the vegetation is kind of out of control as of yesterday or today's visit. Mm-hmm. It was doubly out of control. I think we're considering additional abatement action, additional citations, and even if it's a more frequent citation, I think our department is willing to do that as well.
So you said we're visiting daily. So we need more than just a visit. We need to cite accordingly.
Right. Because
they are continually violating these codes and ordinances. It's more than just not enclosing the dumpster, not cutting the grass and the trees. They literally have junk exposed on the porches.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's more
Sheets
frequent
hanging from the railing.
Yeah, sure.
Ladders just strewn across the front lawn, in addition to rental cars being stored in the parking lot.
Okay, I agree with that.
So we have to be very aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we need to have any more conversations. We need to just cite and maybe get our solicitor involved the same way we got the solicitor involved with the other property that was a nuisance.
So yeah, I heard a lot of considering. And I'm 100% in agreement with Councilor Rowe-Claus that this needs to be action that's actually taken. So just to make sure that everyone is clear and on the same page, what we're expecting is a daily citation for each violation, as well as abatement.
Their most recent
daily citation for each violation, abatement, and then for there's no more talk about enclosing their dumpsters. That was a demand that we put in place over a year ago. So for every single, and this for anyone listening, this isn't targeting this property. This is enforcing our codes that are already there, and this is the expectation. They do not have the right to disrespect this community that way, and we need to take this seriously.
And I think there's a current abatement order out.
Yeah, the most recent abatement was September 9th. Or most recent abatement form was September 9th, and we've compiled the most recent abatements since 2023 and a document to send to the solicitor's office to discuss the next steps on a more aggressive game plan overall. But we have been visiting daily with daily citations. But the most recent abatement form was September 9th.
So no more consideration, no more leniency. We just need to be action oriented and very tight on the rope that we allow these guests in our community. And I'm sure that the residents who actually live there would be thankful. The owners have to be on board if they're going to own property in Yeadon, and they need to maintain property in Yeadon. So we follow up and make sure that we have all of the documentation that we need to move forward with the relationship. We have it, so just let them know what you need, and if it's not enough, let us know. This is too much.
Yes, the most important thing with those type of actions are a history. So, like Council President said, a history of the citing and abatements, and showing a long history of trying to work with this property and it being unsuccessful is the best case for litigation.
Okay. So pull everything we had, all right, and then there should be more by the end of the week.
Yes, we got it ready to go. It's all full, ready to send the first thing in the morning.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Womack, the property that I emailed you about on Providence Road, thank you for moving on that, but nothing has changed with the property. So my question is, what happens now? I did see that a citation was issued to that property and then the property on the other side, like collateral. Then we we're going to get it over here too. So if the homeowner, these are residents, these are people who live here, taxpayers, are not keeping up their property and they're cited, then because this is something that's been going on for years as well, so what happens now, since nothing's changed? Like, I didn't see any attempt for this homeowner to do anything to improve the situation. So, what happens now?
I would have to update the ordinance for homes that are nuisance homes, but are occupied. Currently, our abatements are mainly for homes that are deemed unoccupied or vacant. That issue was a situation when someone lives there, so the next step is a citation, and following that is court, in which we don't necessarily control as the codes department. But I would say, to speak to that point, I think the next step is looking at our ordinances and seeing what can be updated and changed to be more aggressive in situations like that where someone is living in a home, but you wouldn't be able to tell from looking at it from the outside because it is a nuisance. But we kind of cannot, as a borough, go out there and cut their grass unless it's kind of like a safety hazard to the public.
So what permits us to abate Washington Crossing versus an individual resident?
I think public safety is that a allowance for us to abate there? It's a great question.
We have always reviewed large properties like Frankie Francis, he does.
1024 Church.
Sorry.
1024 Church. Let's use property address.
Property address, a private home that is occupied, if Public Works walks onto that property and starts to cut the grass like a private property, we've been confronted before, and we're not gonna have that, it's too dangerous.
I wasn't suggesting, it's
No, no.
really education. If you meant safety from your safety, that's completely understandable.
Like a apartment complex like that, where there's no management doing anything, the people inside there are not gonna bother us, they're gonna clap their hands and they'll let us do what we wanna do. For a safety point, we're good with the apartments. For a safety point, homes, it's not so safe.
Okay, that's completely understandable. I was looking for a teachable moment. I just didn't know.
And we deem it dangerous, like Nicole said, if it's dangerous and it's this high, we would bring a police officer with us, we'd make sure that we're safe, and we would take care of it, biggest to that point.
Okay.
But who makes that decision, I'm really not sure.
So, Madam Chair,
Vice President Roquel?
so when you have a resident that's living in a property that is in clear violation of the code, after you issue your violations and your citations, the next step is court. The court will issue an order if the judge sees fit and order the property be abated. We went through this before. It's not going to take a year. It's not going to take 2 years. It's a matter of maybe 6 months, if that, and I'm probably being a little generous. So we just have to be consistent with what we need to do with respect to the enforcement. If we issue a violation and a citation a day and never follow back up, and then 10 days later go back and do the same thing, we're just wasting time. We have to be continuous, and then we have to take it to court.
Absolutely.
Especially if someone is living in a home and that home is in danger of some sort of collapse.
So this is, okay, so I'm not sure of the details of this, and I don't want to just get off the rails, but I do understand that we, sometimes with vegetation, that poses an issue because we have had issues with the courts seeing, like hearing our cases within a timely manner. So we could discuss this property more individually offline. And, okay. All right. Thank you. Anything else for our code? All right. There ends your report. Public Works.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
Let me start with a few dates for our e-waste. September 13th, between 8 and 2:30. I'm sorry, back that up.
Tomorrow.
Yard waste is September 13th. E-waste is September 27th, between 8 and 2:30. Leaf season is going to begin October 15th. Please, everybody have their leaves out where their designated sweeper day is. Our aqua projects have now moved from Yeadon Avenue, and they are now down on Alfred. They're on Patricia, between Chester and Allen. They're on Hereford Place, and there are some down on Chester Avenue. So please be patient with us, and we're working with Aqua closely to make sure there's no issues. I believe we're pretty close with restoring. Everything's restored down on the Yeadon Avenue, and we're going to be paving that very shortly. The gas project has been completed on the 900 block of McDade Boulevard, West Cobbs, and Chester Avenue. That has to settle before it's repaved. The Church Lane, like Megan had mentioned, Church and McDade Boulevard intersection is in full force. They're going to be working on that for the next several months. Each phase is going to take, I'm sure, a month at a time. Any other questions?
Madam President, I think students going by McDade Boulevard by the cemetery,
Okay.
where that sewer is, cones are there, but I think they tend to move them. And it's so wide, a child might get hurt there. Right by the cemetery?
Okay, you're saying cones by the cemetery, McDade Boulevard?
McDade.
On the cemetery side? Or, I'm sorry.
On the cemetery side.
Cedar Avenue,
Prior to.
from Cedar Avenue, the entrance.
Oh, across from Cedar Avenue entrance? That is actually Darby. That's Darby. That's been reported by myself to Darby at least 3 times this year and twice last year.
Where that sewer is?
Where that sewer is, that is absolutely Darby Borough. And I have reported it at least 5 times in the last year and a half.
It's been there too.
It's been there for at least 2.5 years,
Madam
easy.
President, can we have the solicitor notify Darby about that? It's really bad. It's been there too long.
It's been there way too
Somebody
long.
could really get hurt. One of those children could really fall in.
So, if you can make a recommendation, I don't know what our solicitor can do about the neighboring borough, but maybe who?
I can reach it to the mayor tomorrow.
Okay. Well, we'll reach out to Darby Borough, but I don't know that that's something that our solicitor can do.
Yeah,
She'll take care of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
absolutely. We'll try again. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And one other thing, the lights on the trees in Church Lane. There are only 2 trees, one on one side, one on the other.
They're distinct.
They just need to.
The residents on Church Lane just pull out the plug in their cell phones. We have to be on that every week.
It
to
looks
take
bad.
care
It
of I know.
looks like we can't afford lights. It
Well,
looks bad.
that's not the case.
I know.
I'll look into it.
I'm just saying.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right? Is that-
Thank you, Dave.
Providence, the signs, when will the dusk till dawn, not dusk till dawn, when will the signs change back to regular no overnight parking? Because I know we open it up for the summer, so when will it change back?
They're back to normal ordinance signs.
Okay.
They will not be
So
changed.
you're not gonna lose them this year?
No.
You're not gonna put up the wrong ones?
No,
Okay.
not this time. I did make a mistake and I paid
Thank-
for it. It's okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Make sure you put them in a safe space, so that next spring, when they come back out, they're the right signs. They don't morph into something different while they're in the shop. Thank you very much.
That's okay. We'll work.
All right.
We're using for Halloween decorations.
Yeah, thanks. That's how you lost them last time. All right, thank you. Now we will move on to public safety, starting with our police, emergency management at the same time.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For the month of August, the Yeadon Police Department responded to 1,256 calls for service. We had 12 criminal arrests in the month of August. There were 5 non-traffic citations issued, 4 for disorderly conduct and 1 for criminal trespass. There was 150 vehicle stops by our officers. They issued 50 traffic tickets. There was 876 parking tickets issued. And just to highlight some stuff that we did this week, yesterday, in remembrance of 9/11, we had the 9/11 bike ride that came through town. It was beautiful. I went to Rose Tree Park. I had the privilege of going to Rose Tree Park for the 9/11 ceremony. And just to announce something that we're looking forward to, the 2nd annual Trunk or Treat event. It's going to be at Rap Curry Athletic Complex Field on October 26th, which is a Saturday. The hours are going to be from 5 to 7. We're really looking forward to it. We put it online, and we had a successful time last year. We're hoping to double it, so we have 40 spots this year. And I wanted to just brief council and everyone on just some stuff with some grants. I try to do this every couple months. So right now, from January 2023 to now, the police department, we received a total of $191,769 in grants. That's where we're at. But we just got a $5,000 grant 2 weeks ago from the Delaware Interactive Gaming Grant. That's going to be $4,000 is going to be for our body cam system to keep it going. and 1,000 is going to be for, I want to call swag bags to give out at community events. So they want National Night Out, trunk or treat. But yesterday I got an email from PCCD, which is the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. We applied for 2 grants a couple months ago. The first grant we got yesterday, and I confirmed it today, was for $35,000. And that's to upgrade our system, our reporting system for the National Incident. It's NIBURS. So it's basically, the acronym is National Incident Based Reporting System. So that's for equipment and training for officers. But as Billy Mays says, wait, there's more. This one, I was running around. I definitely can't play poker because Lieutenant Burns was like, did we get it? And I'm walking around smiling like a kid who just realized Toys R Us is open again. Actually, it's in New York if you really want to go. But we got a grant to improve safety in the borough with different equipment we can buy for $86,965.33. As you know, I'm not a math major, so I just calculated this downstairs. So far, since basically 2023, January or February, wherever you want to count, we're up to $313,734 in grants in hand.
Good job.
And that's with the hard work of the police department and the support. And council, Mr. Mayor, Madam President, council, and I also have to give a big shout out to Senator Williams and also Joanna, Speaker of the House, Joanna McClinton, who wrote letters in support of this. And it's good. It's good. We're going to keep going forward. So thank you. And I can drop the mic on that one, right?
Great job,
Just
Chief.
pick it back up and give us some emergency management.
Emergency management. I got invited to my first Delco emergency management meeting this month, so I'll let you know after that. So that ends my report. Any questions?
I just wanted to let you know that we received your recommendations about updating the commercial vehicle ordinance, and we have a draft that we'll be looking over and presenting for our legislature. Right?
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to thank Chief Gianmarco for applying and being so fastidious on these grants. And as you can see, they add up. And so far this year, we've been granted over $300,000 for public safety. I believe that's been unprecedented. So he deserves another round of applause. Thank you.
Vice President Roadcloud.
If you haven't heard it today, thank you.
No, thank you.
We appreciate
I appreciate you all. I appreciate the community, and I have a great, like I keep saying, I have a great team. I'm blessed to have a great team.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That ends my report. I'm going to sneak out before I get yelled at about something. So.
I don't see anyone representing the fire department. So all the fun stuff, recreation. Yeah, let's do it.
So, Mr. Hunter, let me just talk a little bit about our fun stuff that we have coming up. First of all, we will be having a Veterans Day brunch on November 9th. We are inviting the community, the ones who served, our vets, who really are near and dear to my heart, several vets in my family. We ask that you spread the word. The flyer is posted on our website. It is a registration event, so you have to let us know that you are coming, but it is a free event for veterans and their invited guests. I'm asking my colleagues, if you're not doing anything the morning of November 9th, please come. Mayor, if you want to say a few words, you never pass up an opportunity to speak. I'm sure.
That's what I do.
Yeah, so that would be really, really nice. We're inviting some vendors. I got in touch with the VA. I have a friend that works there, so she's going to do a table with some giveaways. We'll have some honorary guests there. We apparently have some Tuskegee Airmen in our community, which is wonderful. So we want to invite them. We want to honor them and have a good time. So that's the first thing. In December, we may be having a holiday event, non-religious. Everybody's invited. I'm going to try to make it around. I don't know when the tree lighting is going to take place, but if we can't do it that evening, we may do something like a winter festival. We have to see what our budget is looking like after we finish doing our Veterans Day event. So that is all I had. Oh, and our next committee meeting is October 1st via Zoom. Thank you. Mr. Hunter?
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
We are halfway through the vegetable program, and if you want some string beans, they're downstairs. If you want some squash, we have some of that left over, so you can drop in downstairs if you want to do that. I want to talk about the Fall Fest, which is going to be held at Smedley Park that Penn State puts on every year. This is the 21st annual, so if any of the residents, council members are interested in gardening, there are workshops, programs for kids, you can get free plants, you can purchase plants, but it's a fantastic program. So that's the 28th of September, and we'll put it on the website so everybody knows. There's going to be an MC6 training, which might go for Public Works, which the Stormwater Coalition puts together every year. It's going to be on October the 10th, 8:30 to 10:30, and it's going to be on Zoom. So if any of the administrators, council members want to know about the MC6 training, which is really stormwater, diverting stormwater out of the system, but the Public Works people have to take that course in order to keep their permit up. Finally, we talk about stormwater, all the fifth and goodies. We have some bookmarks that kids, adults can use, and it's really neat because it talks about stormwater mitigation and that type of thing. But it's also a seed pack, so you can take this home, you can put it in 1/8 of an inch of soil, and hopefully something will sprout. And they usually are brown-eyed Susans.
Oh, nice.
And you can actually put them in your yard. If you put them in, they are perennials, and sometimes they'll bloom twice a year. But it's really neat. I think I gave Darlene some for the library, and we put them in the downstairs, and we'll give some to residents before they leave tonight. This is really neat, featuring, stormwater mitigation, what we talk about with stormwater also, too. It's been very successful, since we've been in the Stormwater Coalition. Been a fantastic program. Part of what we've done, speaking of grants, Stormwater Coalition program has a grant for $15,000 for Community Park, for the rain garden and the bioswale. So part of what Megan talked about tonight, part of it's coming from the Stormwater Coalition, which is a $15,000 grant. So Recreation is bringing a little money too.
Good job. We appreciate you, Mr. Hunter. All right, so
I have one question.
Yes.
Mr. Hunter, the herbs that's downstairs, what are they?
The herbs, we were trying to figure out what they were. Someone said it was rosemary.
No, I think it's oregano.
Oregano.
Definitely not rosemary, definitely not lavender.
Thank you.
Yeah, we weren't quite sure. I took some off and put it on top of my spaghetti tonight.
It's okay. I have a plant identifier app on my phone. We can go figure that out. All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been a very productive meeting. I'm glad to have us back in Caucus where we can have some open discussions. And without further ado, I'd like to ask for an adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.